It's very clearly defined from what my experience. And here we are talking to somebody who's exploring what it can be. That's wonderful. So, what are your performance goals besides experimental music?
Well, I'd like to take more time and do more collaborative things, and I'd like to work with other people, to produce certain things. I really like getting people together, and I like bringing art into. I like bringing drag into other art worlds that aren't used to seeing it necessarily. I just last semester or a semester ago, I graduated from California College of the Arts, and for my senior show, I had rented out a gallery space at the school, and I did this art show where I used artifacts from different drag numbers. I had Glamour's black and white newspaper Dorothy dress from Somewhere Over the Moon, one of her one of the many legendary performances of her. I had Phonique's magazine dress from her Poses number. I had Holy McGrail wig. And I also had like stuff from some newer people like Mother Chucka, who's been doing the rounds a lot lately, but we both were kind of like starting off at the same time. So I had Mother Chucka's Madonna dress, and but I put it in this like really high art, fine art setting. I tried to set it up like a MoMA exhibit. Everything was behind plexi. You couldn't touch it. I had Kitty's makeup suitcase was all spread out. And anyway, that was really fun to see people that are they're too scared to maybe go to the bar scene, let alone the gay bar scene. And seeing that it's not what they're expecting maybe, or and these pieces are fine art and they're just used for one number. Maybe they'll do the number again someday, but there's just so many, it's artful in so many ways.
It really is. That show, I looked at it, I believe, on your website, which is prettypretty.org.
Yes.
Org. Prettypretty.org. And there's a lot of useful stuff in there, but I looked at the installation graduation piece you did over there, and it's a fascinating piece. It's a presentation just like MoMA, as you said. So what else do you get into design? Do you get into any of that stuff too?
A little bit. My degree is in film, video, and technology-based art. So I really like user interface. Like I really like how people interact with something and experience something. So and sometimes in my drag numbers, I'll use props or interactive art pieces that I control actually in a number. I didn't bring the piece in, but recently I tried this number, and I don't know how well it exactly went over, but I tried it over at Heretic at the Eagle, which is I think every other Wednesday. I don't remember exactly when it is, but which is a really fun show. But I did the Hall & Oates Private Eyes, Private Eyes. And I was wearing the overcoat and the fedora and everything like that, and then I took it off, and I had these two styrofoam eyes on my crotch, and I controlled them with buttons on my hips, and they were watching. They look in different directions, but I think people were just like, who's this? What is this? And what? I like to think that their minds were blown completely.
It sounds great.
But I like using technology, and that's kind of like, see, I'm using what I learned in school.
Wow, good for you. You mentioned Heretic. What other shows have you been doing recently? Besides Pearls Over Shanghai.
Pearls Over Shanghai kind of took over my life a little bit, which I appreciated. But I was missing. I've been missing Tiara Sensation a lot. I really enjoyed Tiara Sensation and Charlie Horse, which unfortunately seems to be in a period of transition right now. Well, same with Tiara Sensation. They're changing to Fridays, I think. But I used to love the Monster Show. There's been a lot of changing lately. It's like a period of change. It seems like
a lot of transition.
And I love Aunt Charlie's, and there's many shows. There's some East Bay shows that I haven't been able to check out yet. Seems like there's just not enough time to do everything.
Yeah. Well, for a while there was, more than one thing going on every night.
Yeah.
And it has, I don't know if it's slowed down. It's kind of more centralized in a sense. There were, the Cinch. You had
Yeah.
a lot more south of Market. You had more in the Castro.
I think it seems like that happens a lot in art movements. It seems like sometimes something will get people gravitate to something because it's cool, and then it just spreads out. Especially if something's welcoming. The same thing that made the way Tranny Shack and Midnight Mass and Charlie Horse were so welcoming to me might also be what makes it disperse and have to regroup again, because I think what makes something cool and avant-garde, or they use the term avant-garde sometimes when it comes to some of the numbers, which I love that term, but is also sometimes what makes it flooded, and and then sometimes I think things disperse and then they have to reunite, regroup. I sound like some kind of hippie, but
No, it sounds great. So what's going on with Pearls? Are you going to be? Well, that's going to be regrouping in the sense of it's going to clean up all that flood damage.
Yes. So, Pearls Over Shanghai. The theater's already been cleaned up, which is good. First of all, I mean, that was, what a shock when that happened, the flood. But and we're having rehearsals this weekend for the floor show. We're adding additional Coquettes numbers that we're gonna do as an encore after Pearls, like as a third act. They're really cute numbers. But we're actually gonna be rehearsing in the theater this weekend, so it's safe enough to be in there to rehearse, which is great. And we're hoping that we'll be back up and running with Pearls and possibly the floor show on the 1st. Which would be the 40th year anniversary of the Coquettes' first performance over at the Palace Theater.
The Palace Theater, the Coquettes, that was 1970, I think, right?
Yeah, 69.
Yeah.
Well, maybe, probably 69, 70.
Yeah.
And if we aren't able to pull Pearls together on the 1st, we'll definitely be doing something else. We're gonna run around the city and do a couple numbers here and there if we can find some venues, or maybe even on the street. We have to do something.
That's great. I love that. I mean, I love Pearls. I've been to see it 4 times.
That's
and,
so great.
I just absolutely love it. I mean, it is, to me, it's a piece of art itself, and the Coquette, there are 3, I think, Coquettes involved.
Yes.
Rumi is in the acts in it, and
Scrumbly and Tara.
Scrumbly plays, and he originally wrote part of it, didn't he?
He co-wrote all the music.
So
and